It's another installment of Trillium Talk across the Village Media Network and, of course, available wherever you get your favorite podcast. I'm Scott Sexsmith and very pleased to have with us from our team at the Trillium reporter, Jack Howen. Good to see you, Jack. Appreciate you doing this.
Always a pleasure.
Jack, let's start with homelessness. And no secret, this has been an issue in every city and town in the province, with an unofficial estimate of over 230,000 people without a home. The number is staggering and certainly more than what's been acknowledged, at least publicly. Let's start with the numbers and how you got them.
So this was a Freedom of Information request by my colleague, Charlie Pinkerton. It was for the transition binder that was prepared for the new Associate Minister of Housing. So we got that back, and as you say, contained in the binder was this admission that the ministry's unofficial estimate of the number of people experiencing homelessness in the province is almost 250,000 people, 234,000. So about the population of Windsor. So they don't say how they calculate it. They don't say whether it includes so-called hidden homeless, people who are couch surfing, that kind of thing, or whether that's counts from shelters or what have you. But either way, it's about 1.5% of the total population of Ontario, so 3 of every 200 people in the province. It had a few other statistics that were pretty stark. The shelter system is 97% full. There are far more people than there are spots. Wait lists for supportive housing are 7 years long. There's thousands of people on those. And it says 30,000 supportive housing spaces are needed, although as one advocate pointed out to me, that figure comes from an 8-year-old report. So it's likely much more dire now.
Now, the finance minister, Peter Bethlen-Falvey, has weighed in. What was his response? And what about the response from the other side of the floor?
Yeah, he was asked about it, and he pointed to AMO, the Association of Municipalities of Ontario. They're going to be having a conference starting on Sunday, and he said he's going to be having tons of meetings. He and his team have 35 meetings over 2 days with them. I'll be attending that, so I'll be checking in to see what those conversations have been like. And but as far as we know from AMO attendees, at least from big city mayors, where this is a significant problem, it's their number one issue. It's, as you say, it's extremely visible. It's causing a ton of problems for municipalities, and they say they just can't deal with it. They need the province's help, and they need a specific point person from the province. They've made that call. As for the other side of the floor, the reactions have been predictable. They say the Ford government has failed on housing and failed to support people who can't get a roof over their heads.
And AMO, of course, coming out earlier this week saying that there's over 1,400 encampments documented now in the province. All right, Jack, let's shift to childcare. Sneha Dougal recently reported that the province is going to start charging childcare centers in government buildings hundreds of thousands of dollars in rent when they've previously had those spaces for nominal amounts. Why the sudden about-face?
Yeah, so this was actually a letter that was sent last summer by Infrastructure Ontario to childcare operators saying that, this is going to be the new policy. It's been delayed a number of times, but now it's going to start coming in soon. The switch to full market rate rents, the province says, can be offset by federal funding that these daycare operators receive. And they say in their letter that they know, obviously, that this will result in increased costs, but the early learning childcare initiative should be able to offset it. Now, operators are understandably a little nervous about this because this is a different level of government saying that they can cover the cost with funding from another level. Nothing set in stone. They're feeling pretty nervous, especially since these fees, as you mentioned, are going to increase from $1 a year, $10 a year to hundreds of thousands, almost $500,000. One person told Sneha.
And one advocate had what you might call some pretty choice words, saying the province is filling its coffers with childcare money from another government. Who was it? And what has the response to this from the feds been?
Yeah, so that was Carolyn Ferns of the Ontario Coalition for Better Childcare. As she said, as you said, she basically called it a shell game where um, funding from the feds is being siphoned off through rent by the province, whereas previously that was subsidized by the province. She said the province is shirking their responsibility to childcare here. As for the feds, they didn't go full fiery in their response, but they said it's deeply disappointing that the province is putting more obstacles in the way of childcare operators. That's a quote from a spokesperson for the federal families minister. They said they'll be keeping an eye on this in the future.
And I bet they will. For the most up-to-the-minute coverage of Ontario politics anywhere, log on and become a Trillium Insider today at thetrillium.ca. Reporter Jack Howen. Thanks for this, Jack. Have a great week.
Thanks very much for having me.